Hey, how you doing? It's your boy Brogi Naric back again with another episode of the Ponder Playhouse. And if you're not familiar with this series, this is a series where I come up with different ideas to fan cast movies or come up with different pitches for TV shows or even video games. Very popular series. And this video is going to focus on the recently announced One Punch Man movie that is being developed by Sony Pictures. And in this video, I'm going to be giving my casting choices and also my ideas on what the One Punch Man movie could be like. But before I get into it, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and also share this video if you enjoy it. But it's a way to help the channel grow, and thanks for doing that. So, this was announced, it was revealed, I think, about sometime last week, and at first I was like, okay, live action One Punch Man. Kind of not random, because One Punch Man is a very popular manga series in Japan and in the world. It's also a very popular anime series, which is like, One Punch Man is like one of my favorite anime series. Like if I had to pick out of my top, probably even my top 5, top 10 definitely, but maybe even top 5, One Punch Man is amazing. And I love it. It focuses on this guy who is he's a superhero for fun, and he's so powerful, and he's kind of bored because he fights enemies, usually monsters, and he destroys them with one punch. And he's kind of like he's looking for a certain fulfillment. But and the series is funny, but it's also like action packed as well. But the scale is insane. So trying to turn into a live action movie is going to be a little bit tough. And sadly, it's being done by Sony, and because Sony's is very, very hit and miss, mostly miss, especially recently with some of their big budget movies that they're trying to turn into franchises, which is clearly what they're trying to do with One Punch Man. I don't blame them. It's just this could go bad really quickly. And it's at Sony. It's going to be produced by Avi Arad, who is known for producing a lot of movies. He's big on the handling the Spider-Man movies, the good ones and the bad. All the Spider-Man live-action movies you've seen and animated, like Into the Spider-Verse, he's been involved with. So that's his track record. And the movie is supposed to be written by the guys who worked on the Venom movie and the recent Jumanji movies, Scott Rosenberg and Jeff Pinkner. And I didn't really like Venom, and I haven't seen the new Jumanji movies, but they've made a lot of money. So they're at least trying to put their best foot forward. They got 2 guys who've made recent hits for them. They got a guy who's experienced, especially in the superhero genre. So I guess they're trying to do something here. And another reason why I love One Punch Man, it reminds me of The Tick. If you're not familiar with The Tick, it's a cartoon about a superhero in a world with a bunch of superheroes, and it's wacky and goofy. And One Punch Man kind of reminds me of like an anime version of that, because it's got the humor, but it's also in that world where superheroes exist and villains exist, and they're kind of regular people, but they're also these superpowered, fantastical characters. And One Punch Man is a parody. Both of them are parodies on superheroes too. Because One Punch Man is a parody on superheroes, and it's from like a Japanese Eastern lens as opposed to the American lens like The Tick. So there's a lot of things that I love that encompasses the One Punch Man series. And another thing, live action animated adaptations aren't that good, especially in the West. I guess some of the Japanese ones are better. I haven't really watched many of them, but I know a lot of the ones that are made in America don't do too well, like Ghost in the Shell and Dragon Ball Evolution, Death Note on Netflix. And I think the main one that's considered good or to great is Alita Battle Angel, which I saw and I thought the movie was fine. Not familiar with the series, but so it's a tough it's a tough shadow that live action anime adaptations is casted under, and hopefully One Punch Man can break the mold. And also, one of the things that happens a lot with these adaptations, especially in America, when they're, to us, we assume they're Asian characters. Sometimes they might not be, but, it's anime, so we tend to perceive them as Asian, and then we get the whole whitewashing controversy or not respecting certain heritage controversy. So with my casting choices, I'm definitely going more towards the Crazy Rich Asians route and trying to get a mostly Asian cast, like, because I don't know, it'd be kind of weird to me personally, but with the whole Ghost in the Shell thing, most of the Japanese people didn't give a shit. So what do I know? But for me, I'm going more in that Crazy Rich Asians route. And for the live action One Punch Man movie, I feel the tone they should aim for is sort of a cross between Deadpool and the Michael Bay Transformers movies. What I mean by that is, Deadpool, you have the parody, you have the humor and the wackiness, but in terms of Transformers, you have the big, over-the-top, crazy, end-of-the-world, CGI, crazy stuff. And not in terms of like the type of humor or the bad story structure, but like the scale or potentially the budget, which I know it's not going to get a big budget because Sony doesn't. They've gotten a lot smarter in terms of how much money they should put into a movie, so I don't think this movie's going to be that big of a budget. But One Punch Man, you kind of need a good-sized budget to pull off the main stuff because it's so grand in scale most of the time. And it's a pretty easy season, at least the first season, I think would be fairly easy to adapt. There's a lot of stuff you could trim down, and there's certain things I would want to see, and I feel like they need to have in this first movie, and those would be the dream with the subterranean, the fight with the subterranean people. That's a great moment in the first episode to kind of give you an idea of what Saitama's going through. Him trying out for the Hero Association, that's a classic moment. The meteor coming down to destroy the city, that moment is big in terms of how his character is looked upon throughout the world. The fight with the Deep Sea King, another great character moment, and of course the alien invasion with Lord Boros. I feel like those elements should be involved in some point to really get the grasp of the One Punch Man storyline. So with all that being said, I'm now going to get into my casting choices for this potential movie. And first, I'm going to start off with the main character, One Punch Man, Saitama himself. And this is a great and famous anime character, and there's only one actor I feel who could really portray the awesomeness of this character. He's a regular guy, who's kind of laid back, but he's also really tough. And you need an actor that can really portray that. And my pick for Saitama is Scarlett Johansson. This lady can do it all. She can do nothing wrong. She's a great actress. She's like the highest paid female actress in America, in the world actually. She's highly talented. She can do the action, she can do comedy, and she would look amazing in the outfit. So I think she would be just perfect to take this role because she can just get lost in any role and just blend in with her surroundings. She is amazing. Okay, all right. All right, no, that's a joke. That's a joke. I had to get my shot. I had to get my little Ghost in the Shell shot in there because Scarlett Johansson is on the roll call for this. But honestly, my real pick to play Saitama is Steven Yeun. Steven Yeun. You may recognize him from The Walking Dead. He played Glenn. I never watched it, but I know it's very popular. And I like him. He's a really good actor. He's charismatic. He can do action. And one of the reasons, like I said, going the Crazy Rich Asians route, I'm looking for an Asian actor to play him. Probably won't be because America. But he's one of the most recognizable, I would say, Asian actors to most of the general public in America. And he hasn't had a big leading franchise, and I think he'd be perfect for it. He's in decent shape. He's not too big. He's smaller guy, but he can get in shape, and he looks like a regular guy. You don't need someone to look super imposing or super like movie star. Like he's a handsome guy, but you don't need like a Henry Golding because it kind of pulls away what the Saitama character is supposed to be. And Saitama, like I said, he's a regular guy who trained very hard and becomes this ultimate powerful superhero, but he doesn't get the recognition and he's not necessarily looking for the recognition, but like stuff he does is amazing. But like he's always like people always overlook what it is and don't take him seriously. And I think Steven Yeun could play that, and he has comedic skills as well. So that is my pick for Saitama. It's probably not going to be him, but I think he's great. Next on the list is that of Saitama's disciple slash sidekick slash partner slash roommate, and that is Genos slash the Demon Cyborg. And my pick to play him, this was probably the toughest, this is one of the toughest ones, because I think a number of people could play him, and this was kind of a random pick, but for me, I'm going to go with Harrison Gilbertson. Now, you're probably thinking, who the hell is that? He's a very young actor. I mainly know him from the movie Upgrade, which came out in 2018, and he plays a scientist in that. And he looks like Genos. He's a, for me, my reasons for picking him, for casting Genos, is you need a guy who's very handsome, because that's part of his character. He has to be very handsome, and he looks good with blonde hair, and he has to be, a little bit younger, but this guy is good. He's a good actor. I've seen him in that movie. He was dope. Genos is this cyborg. He's kind of like a play on Mega Man or Astro Boy, and he's out for revenge because his scientist father was killed, and he was harmed, and he got turned into a cyborg, and he's trying to find this person, but he's also looking for enough power to take down the enemy. Comes across Saitama, he sees he's powerful, and then he's like, I want you to teach me your skills, and he knows the true hero that Saitama is, and he's like very loyal to him. He's a fun character, but he also has the gimmick where like no matter how many upgrades he gets, he always ends up getting damaged. So he's kind of like, oh, you look cool, but then at certain moments he gets his ass kicked. But like he's a fun character. He's a fun character, and I think Harrison Gilbertson would be good in the role. He's probably not going to get it, but that would be my pick for Genos. Alright, up next is that of Bang slash Silverfang, who is a martial arts expert, and he is a Class S rank 3 hero, so he's like the third best hero in this universe. And my pick to play him is Brian T. And you may recognize Brian T. from, he played Shredder in the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie. He's also on a show called Chicago Med on NBC. And he's a really good actor. He's a Japanese actor. He's just got a cool look. And I was trying to find someone who has a martial arts background, but who's not too old, because Silverfang is an old guy, but he's also like super shredded. He's kind of like Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z, but not a perv. But he's like, he does this awesome martial arts, but he's like super ripped. So I was like, get someone who's young, who can be in shape, and just put, old man makeup on him. And Brian T. is a good choice. There's another guy I was thinking I wanted to cast, but he's going to be Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, so that guy's probably going to be busy. So Brian T., next big thing. And he's a good actor. He's got a great look, and he's dope. Up next is that of Terrible Tornado, who is a Class S rank 2 hero. She's the number 2 powerful hero in this universe. And my pick for her is Karen Fukuhara, who you may recognize as Katana from the Suicide Squad movie, and also as the female from Amazon's The Boys, where you've seen her in either, well, especially the female, she's badass. And that's exactly what Terrible Tornado is. And she's the second most powerful hero. She's basically like if you took Jean Grey when she's the Dark Phoenix, but she's like in full control of her powers. Like that power level is basically how powerful she is. She's telekinetic, and she can do anything. She's tiny, and people think she's younger than what she is, and she hates that. And she's always got a temper, and she can get easily aggravated. She likes to show off her powers. She's an interesting character. She's not in the series that much in the anime, but I'm pretty sure with pretty much most of the female characters, because they're not that many, they're probably going to increase their roles a little bit. And I think Karen Fukuhara's a really good actress. She hasn't been in a lot of things, but the things I've seen her in, she fills her roles well, and I think she would be great to pull off the Terrible Tornado. Up next is Fubuki, aka Hellish Blizzard, who is a Class B rank 1 hero, so she's like top of the third class of heroes. And my pick for her is Kimiko Glenn. Now you may recognize her from Orange is the New Black on Netflix. That's like the main thing she's been in. And she seems to be a cool actress. I haven't seen her act. I'm not gonna lie to you, but like I said, I was looking for certain Asian actresses. And once again, another Asian actress that a certain amount of the American public would recognize, and she has to look for the character. And Fubuki Hellish Blizzard is Terrible Tornado's younger sister, and she has the same telekinetic abilities as Terrible Tornado, but she's not as powerful. She's kind of lives in her shadows, the shadow of her sister, and she knows she wants to push herself to be more powerful, but she's stuck at rank B. She's at Class B, rank 1, and she's kind of like a superhero sort of mob boss in a way, where she can't break into Class A, but she can control Class B, so she tries to kind of get everyone to work underneath her. And she's a little controlling, but she's a cool character. She's probably the most powerful and most used female character in the series, so they'll probably have to, expand her character a little bit if she were to pop up in the series. I don't think she needs to be in the first movie, but she'll probably be. And yep, that's pretty much my pick for her. Next on the list is that of Moomin Rider, the cyclist hero, Class S, rank 1. And my pick for him is Lakeith Stanfield. This honestly could have gone to anyone, but I chose Lakeith Stanfield. Well, because you know there's going to be, even though there's no black characters, well, there's one black character, but fuck that character, in the series of One Punch Man. You know, being an American adaptation, they're going to throw in people from different backgrounds, and I have no problem with that. But I feel like when you're casting an anime, at least the main hero and the main love interest and the main villain, if they're Asian, you should cast an Asian actor to play that role. That's just me personally. But you're going to get other people from different backgrounds in an American version. So here's my obligatory black guy. And why not it be Lakeith Stanfield? He's already done it in Netflix's Death Note adaptation. But also, Lakeith Stanfield is a dope character, and he can play a blue-collar guy. He's been popping up in a lot of supporting roles, and that's what Moomin Rider is. He's a supporting character. He has no superpowers. He rides a bike, and he's very dedicated, and he's very passionate about saving lives. And him and Saitama become friends. And Lakeith Stanfield's a dope character who I think can pull that off. There's also, if you're not familiar with the real-life superhero world, there is an actual black guy who, I think he was in New York, I think he's in Connecticut now, who rides a bike. He's basically Moomin Rider in real life. And so you can draw that real-world comparison if you want to. This is something clever, another layer, but that's my pick for Moomin Rider. And next on the list is the Class S rank 7 hero, King, who is known as the strongest human on Earth. And he's just a complete badass. And my pick to play King is Chris Hemsworth, who of course you know as Thor. He's also on other movies. He's been in Extraction, which is on Netflix currently to date this video. But Chris Hemsworth has the presence of a tough guy and a badass, but he can also do comedy when he's given good material, and that fits the King character, because even though King is Class S rank 7, he's just a regular guy. He has no powers. He can do nothing. He's just a guy, but he unintentionally receives credit for the work that Saitama has done and throughout his history, even though, and he kind of just rides the wave. He's not like a terrible guy, but he keeps getting into the situation where bad things happen to him. Someone he doesn't know who he is saves the day, and then for some reason, because he's like the last person standing there, the public seems to think that he's the one who's doing it. And he, like I said, he's Class S rank 7, but he has no powers, and the character looks badass. And I feel like this would be a great cameo, essentially, because he doesn't do much in the first season. He really does more in the second season. but he pops up, and I think having Chris Hemsworth's star power to play a guy who you think is this badass, and then you realize that he's just a regular goof. I think Chris Hemsworth can really pull that off. You need someone like, I feel like, legitimate, who would, most people would think like, oh yeah, he's gonna be so badass, he's gonna kick some ass, and then you realize like he's just a dude. I think that would be fun to do a little bit of stunt casting, I guess, with Chris Hemsworth. And next on the list is Puri Prisoner, who is a Class S rank 17 hero, so he's still in the top list, but he's like at the bottom of it. And my pick to play him is Joe Manganiello, who you may recognize mainly from True Blood, but he was also Flash Thompson in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Just that one, but like that's what I mainly remember him from. But you recognize the guy from True Blood, and he's a big, tall dude, fit, just jacked, handsome guy, and he looks like the character, like he really does. And the character is a bit problematic though, like when you really look at him, because Prisoner, he's this big burly, he's the prisoner superhero. He's this big burly guy who's gay, which that's not the problem, but it's how he's depicted, where he gets really touchy-feely with the guys, and sort of like very aggressively trying to get at them or try to get them to love him or whatever. And then he also, whenever he fights, he is up naked. So he's a weird character. But Joe Manganiello has the look, he has the build, and he can be funny. He's popped up in a couple of comedies. So I mean, that seems like pretty easy casting. Although I kind of feel like he's not going to be in this movie, but he's part of the series, so there you go. And next is Metal Bat, who is a Class S rank 15 hero. And my pick for Metal Bat is David Castaneda, who you may recognize as Diego from Netflix's Umbrella Academy. Now, you could have picked anyone for this, but I chose David Castaneda because he's dope. I really love him as Diego, and his Diego character is somewhat similar to Metal Bat, but they're both the angry, tough guy who is also a smart ass. And Metal Bat is dope. He's just a dude with a metal bat, but he's raising his younger sister. He has his metal bat, and he has this power whenever he gets hurt or he feels like his life is about to be threatened or whatever. His energy increases and he becomes like super strong and damn near indestructible, and he just beats the shit out of people with that metal bat. And he's a fun character. Once again, he's more of a background character. In the first season, you know more about him in the second season, but they can, build him up a little bit. And I think David Castaneda is just a dope actor, so that's my pick for that character. And hence another superhero, the last superhero I'm going to be casting, and that is of Amai Mask, who is the Class A rank 1 superhero, and he's the most popular superhero. Even though he's only Class A rank 1, he's got a marketing team where he's like the most popular. He's essentially like a pop star and a superhero, and he's a model and he's very handsome. So my pick to play this character is Charles Melton, who you may recognize as Reggie from Riverdale on the CW. And he fits the part because he's handsome, he's fit, and he can also play a cocky douchebag, which is basically what Amai Mask is. Now, Amai Mask is very protective of the superhero business, and he's very dedicated to the superhero business, but he's also very critical of those within the business who he doesn't think are up to the task to portray that of a hero. So he talks a lot of shit about everyone, and he's an interesting character because he talks a lot of shit, but you rarely see him actually fighting any crime, because usually when something's going down, he's like, oh, I'm busy promoting my album, or I'm doing a photo shoot right now, I'm shooting a commercial. But he can fight. He's basically like a superpowered martial arts type character. But he plays an important role in terms of how Saitama, once he's starting to get into the whole world of superheroes, there's the different people you have to come across, and he's one of those gatekeepers that's trying to keep a lot of people out of the business. And I think Melton would be able to pull out, because his character Reggie is essentially just cocky and douchey, but he's cool too. So it's like he can pull it off. You know, it's not that hard of a choice. And next on the list is that of Surya, who is a badass martial artist. He's not a superhero. He's just a dope ass martial artist. He's kind of like a Ryu-ish, Ryu, not quite Johnny Cage, but you know, he's a happy-go-lucky martial arts guy, and that's the main thing he does. And he loves fame. And just really one actor I could feel that could, well, yeah, there's really one actor I could feel that could pull this role off, and that is Louis Tan. Louis Tan, handsome guy, do martial arts, he's good at it, and you may recognize him from Enter the Badlands, or he played Shatterstar in Deadpool 2, and also he was on like the best fight scene in Iron Fist Season 1, and Louis Tan, like I said, he can pull this character off in his sleep. Handsome guy, cocky, but he knows martial arts, he's very dedicated, and he doesn't understand the whole superhero thing, because there's the world of superheroes and then there's the worlds of martial arts, and it kind of intertwines, but he's very much like, I don't get why someone would risk their lives just to be a superhero. Why don't you just fight? You know, that's kind of his thing. But he comes across Saitama. Saitama saves his life, and he starts to realize the importance of why heroes exist. And he's a cool character. He pops up in the second season. I don't expect him to be in the first movie, but you know, down the line, if this becomes a franchise, he's gonna pop up, or he should pop up. And Louis Tan is my pick to play him. And now I'm going to get into casting some of the villains. This will be pretty easy because most of the villains are just big monsters. You don't really need to get that in depth. But there are some villains who are actual characters. And I'm going to start this list off with one of the more reoccurring villains. That is Speed or Sonic Sound. And my pick to play him is Ryan Potter. Now, Ryan Potter, you may recognize, mainly I recognize him as Beast on Titans, which is on DC Universe. And he's been in he's a young guy, he's been in some kid shows on, like, I think Nickelodeon or whatever. But Ryan Potter looks like Sonic, Speed of Sound Sonic. He was originally going to be my pick to play Saitama, but then I felt like Steven Yeun was better. And then when I looked at the list, and I was like, oh wait, Speed, and he looks just like Speed. Like, they look very much similar. Speed is a super fast ninja assassin who's kind of an anti-hero. He's mainly a bad guy, but sometimes when things get really bad, he's also there fighting the monsters. But he's, like I said, super fast. He's very arrogant, very cocky, deadly, and he hates when he is shown up. And that's his problem with Saitama, is he can't beat him. Even though Saitama seems like this regular guy, he's fast enough to stop Sonic, and it annoys the shit out of him. And of course, he accidentally punched Sonic in the dick, so he very much wants to kill him for that, and also because he doesn't like anyone being better than him. And I think Ryan Potter, he's got a little bit of a martial arts background. He's also a Japanese actor, and he's comical. He can be funny, but I think he can also pull off the cockiness and the assholishness of the character, and it'll be a good vehicle for him to get even bigger. So that's my pick for Sonic. Another villain who I feel needs to be in this show, he's probably my favorite villain. He's part of my favorite storyline within, especially the first season, and that is the Deep Sea King. And my pick to play him is Alfred Molina. Great British actor Alfred Molina. You may, of course, recognize him as Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2. And he's been in countless other movies, and mainly for the Deep Sea King, he would be like, you know, CGI or motion capture. So Alfred Molina would be there for the voice. Alfred Molina, great voice actor. He has that evil douchebag British aristocratic upper crust British accent, which would be perfect for the Deep Sea King, who is just this, you know, he's an evil sea monster that's the king of the deep sea folk, and he comes on land and just starts wrecking shit. And it's a great storyline because he's like defeating and killing all these different lower class heroes and causing damage when these monsters are attacking. And everyone is struggling to try to fight him. And Saitama's the only one who eventually shows up to save the people. And then the people start to, because once he's killed all these people, Saitama stops him with one punch. And then the people start to question, like, was this monster really that tough? Is one guy stop him with one punch, and that brings in the dilemma of like Saitama never really getting the credit that he should, and people not trusting him and all that. So it's a great moment, and yeah, Alfred Molina would be perfect to portray this character. And it's like I said, very pivotal moment in the series that I feel like needs to be in the movie. And also, I would combine this character with Carnage. What was his name? Carnage Kabuto was another villain, but he's way more minor. But there's a famous moment that happens where Saitama reveals his regiment of how he got so powerful. I would take that moment and just give it to the Deep Sea King, and so you don't have to worry about getting both big monsters in the movie. Just take that moment, give it to the Deep Sea King, and combine those moments to make it flow better. But that's just how I would structure it. Another huge villain, the big villain from season 1, that is Lord Boros, who is a evil alien pirate king guy who's looking for a fight. And this was one of the other tough choices. And my pick for Lord Boros is Kevin Durand. Now, if you're not familiar with Kevin Durand, you might mostly know him as he played the Blob in X-Men Origins Wolverine, that terrible movie. He was the big dude that played the Blob. He's also been in a number of movies. He was on Swamp Thing recently, but the one thing that really sealed the deal for me that I didn't realize, he's the voice of Lord Zarkon on Netflix's Voltron's Legendary Defender series. And Zarkon is dope, and that was the main thing I was looking for, was an actor who has a cool voice, because, Lord Boros would clearly be CGI. And he's not that deep of a character. He's, he pops up right at the end. He's this evil alien warlord who has his sort of like alien pirates. They go from different planets and destroy them, and he comes to Earth and he wants to take it over, but he wears this big suit of armor that like contains his power because he's looking for someone to fight, and that person happens to be Saitama, and they have this big epic battle in the city, and that's basically his character. But Kevin Durand, he's got the size, he's 6'6", he's got the cool look, and he has a dope voice. I think that's the main things you need to pull off the Lord Boros character, and I think he would be a perfect pick for that character. And lastly, on the list, the bad boy villain himself, the monster hunter, the hero, the human monster himself, Garo. And this was interesting, and I had this pick originally, and then ultimately I decided to stick with it. My pick for Garo is Ross Butler. You may recognize him from 13 Reasons Why. He was the original Reggie on Riverdale, and he was also, but he's in Shazam. He's cool. I like this guy. He just has a cool look. He's got a great charisma. He's a solid actor. He's a young guy. He's 6'3", he's a big dude, and he's like jacked. And like Genos is jacked. But Genos is also this sort of an, I wouldn't say anti-hero. He's one of those villains who has some of a sympathetic vibe to him to a degree, where he was bullied as a child, and he feels more connection to the monsters than the heroes, because the monsters are the underdogs and he's an underdog, and he knows martial arts. He's a former student of Silver Fang, and then he takes his teachings and then uses it for evil, and he's beating up people. Then he starts beating up superheroes, and to the point where he doesn't quite kill them, but he beats them almost near to death, and he's a problem. And he's a wild character. Kind of got a Vegeta vibe, where he's the bad guy, but then maybe down the line he might become a good guy. I don't know. I've only watched the first 2 seasons of the anime, but he's a cool character, and I feel like Ross Butler can pull off that sort of sympathetic douchebag badass character. And I'm trying to be positive about this, because live action anime adaptations usually don't do too well. And something as awesome as this series, something that I'm near and dear to me, I want it to be done well. But the Sony of it all, the Avi Arad of it all, the infamous record of Sony's big budgeted potential franchise movies, it ain't looking so good. So hopefully they can nail this one and keep it as close to the source material. Don't change it too much and make it something stupid, because that's just gonna piss off the fan base. And then if you can't grab the initial fan base, then it's I don't think it's gonna translate as well. So hopefully they can do their best to pull this off. I'm hoping there's no big controversy in terms of casting, because then that's gonna really fuck it up. But this is my list. Let me know what you think about my choices. Are they good? Are they too, inside baseball? Just let me know. And once again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And stay tuned for more videos. Peace.